Historic Horizon's going to be having spoilers a bunch over the next little bit. I don't think I'm going to do daily spoiler review, but I think we're going to do it in chunks because there's going to be a lot of cards coming and a lot of different things to talk about here. So today we're going to take a peekaboo at the Jumpstart Historic Horizons cards we've seen so far. If you're not familiar with what this is, these are a digital-only set that's bringing Modern Horizons 1 and 2 cards, plus a variety of other things, including new digital-only cards into Magic: The Gathering Arena. These will all be historic legal. To start with, we've got some new digital-only cards. So we've got Faceless Agent here, which is a changeling, so it's all creature types. And it says, when this enters the battlefield, seek a card of the most prevalent creature type in your library. So seek is a random mechanic that's controlled variant. So this guarantees draws you whatever creature is the most prevalent in your creature type deck. So like if you have, you're playing a Merfolk deck, that's going to draw you Merfolk, etc. I don't know that this is necessarily going to be powerful enough at 3 mana. It's a little bit slow. It is kind of interesting from a Merfolk perspective that this could basically be Silvergill Adepts like 6 through 8 or 5 through 8. Yeah, it can draw other copies of itself as well because it's all creature types. So perhaps, you company into this and then your company draws a card. If you pair this with Lords, the fact that it's a body that cantrips could be very relevant. Les Tick, thanks for the quarter of year. Welcome back. Yeah, you could company into it. Baffling Defenses is actually kind of a neat design that I wouldn't be unsurprised if it saw play. So if there's a straight blue-white or perhaps a Bant control deck, Baffling Defenses could be an okay removal spell for that. Obviously, Jeskai is going to have access to Lightning Helix as a 2-mana removal spell, and Esper and Black Control have other black removal spells, but as far as pure white removal spells go, this one's not terrible. Lumbering Light Shield's probably a little bit too weak, so perpetually, you see this as a word here, means permanently forever, even through zone changes. So Light Shield here makes one of the cards in your opponent's hand always cost +1 mana. Wingstead Trainer, when it attacks, enters the battlefield or attacks, conjure a Stormfront Pegasus to your hand. So Stormfront Pegasus is a 2/1, so this with flying. Yes, it's through zone changes. Perpetually just means forever, being tracked through zones. This is interesting. So it draws a 2/1 for 2. Probably not good enough for actual historic. If you have no lands in your hand, seek a land and a non-land. Otherwise, draw seek 2 non-lands. This is kind of a neat design. It's like a Divination plus. I feel like Historic's probably moved past a point where Divination is playable. If this was an instant, it might be good enough, but I think it's Sorcery. This one's probably not going to play. So, would Lumbering Light Shield impact alternative costs like, say, Escape for Croxy? Yeah, it should, Meta Missile. Yes. Yeah, this is probably just much worse than Expressive Iteration is accurate. At 3 mana. Needed to either be an instant or be 2. Tap target creature. That creature perpetually gains. This creature doesn't untap. Pay 8 to untap. This is a limited card. Windrake. Channel. Gets flying. Another limited card. Tomb of the Infinite. Do they have the spell book listed with it? They don't. So, this conjures a random card in its spellbook into your hand. And this card's kind of neat. So the spellbook list that they have with this is, it's like Lightning Bolt, Swords to Plowshares, Dark Rituals, and the link above the cards. There we go. So it can conjure Swords to Plowshares, Light of Hope, Ponder, Force Spike, Dark Ritual, Duress, Bolt, Assault Strobe, Giant Growth, Fog. Yeah, it's a bunch of powerful cheap spells. I feel like the one thing I really dislike about this card is a lot of the things that this draws are like decent control tools. Like even like Light of Hope, like Ponder, Force Spike, all of these are fine. The Assault Strobe and the Giant Growth is Assault Strobe and Giant Growth feel a little bit out of place Ransack, thanks for the 13 months. Yeah, and I mean, like, the way you think about it is, like, I've heard people complaining that this is random, but, like, imagine this just an artifact that said tap, draw a card, right? Only instead of drawing a spell from your deck, you're guaranteed to draw one of these. And, like, this, drawing one of these at random is less random than drawing a 4 of from your deck. No, you unfortunately do not get to pick, like, Hearthstone's Discovery or Runeterra's Invoke mechanics. Yeah, it just gives you one of the ones on the list at random. We looked at Davriel a little bit yesterday. This design is really sweet if you haven't seen it. So the uptick and the downtick are both very reasonable on the +1 and the -3. And the -2 is accept one of his offers and then one of his conditions, which is just a giant list of things that can happen. So, like, the offers are really powerful upsides, and the conditions are pretty hefty downsides. Now, with Davriel, they did say that Davriel will give you a choice of 3 on each. So you won't always get to pick between all of these, but these are a little bit of controlled variants. So these will be, you'll see 3 of these at random, and you'll see 3 of these at random to pick upside and downside. Davriel's Withering, kind of a sweet effect. Target creature perpetually gains -1/-2. This is a way to keep cats in the discard pile. So you target a Cauldron Familiar with Davriel's Withering, and that -1/-2 is going to follow it around between zones. So the cat is just gone. They can still sacrifice a food to bring it back from the graveyard and drain you, but it's immediately going to go back. Oh, that's a great catch as well. This deals with an Arclight Phoenix forever, because it's -1/-2. It is kind of like Black Magma Spray in some ways, yeah, except it can be used to make other things smaller. Yeah, it deals with Luris as well. Correct. It does still have to have a target and resolve. So you have to catch the cat with this while they don't have the oven activation up, is correct. Manor Guardian. Dies, each player seeks an online card mana value to your list. This is probably not good enough. Enters the battlefield, choose a creature card in your hand against Death Touch. That's not particularly good. We saw this one yesterday. This card is probably rough. So this is, I misread this to start. This is Phyrexian Negator's text, not Phyrexian Obliterators. So use sacrifice permanents when it's dealt damage with the bottom one. Plague Crafter has memes with Chain Whirler. Yeah, that's true. If the format's more creature-based, this in the Chain Whirler is very funny. I don't know that Historic is currently creature-based enough. However, a lot of the cards in this set seem to be pushing in the direction of creature-based things being good, so that could definitely change as we get more cards. We've got Sarkhan, Wanderer to Shiv here. Dragon cards in your hand perpetually get this card costs 1 less to cast. You may spend X to pay this spell's mana, where X is its mana value. So, does this mean if you plus this enough, you can make your dragons free? Is that how that works? Am I understanding that correctly? So, the one thing that jumps out at me with this is Ebon Death could be sweet. Like trying to find a way to get that cost reduction more than once. So, yeah, this also lets you cast 5-color Niv in decks where you don't have 5 mana. But yeah, Ebon Death coming back for free or cheap forever seems potentially very good. It also draws you Shivan Dragons every turn, and it downticks to kill something and interact with the board. So this might be good enough. It generates card advantage against control. It can interact with the board against creature decks, and it makes your dragons cheaper in some certain spots. Yes, dragon cards in your hand. It is not an emblem. It's dragons you currently have in hand get cheaper. I don't know what people are thinking I was talking about, but I've never said, as he does have Dragon Oven Mitts. Sarkhan Skarn actually seems okay as well. Deals damage equal to the number of turns you have begun to target creature or planeswalker. So, cards like Roast, or what's the... There's a card that we play on occasion. What's the Searing? It's a 3-mana deal 5 to something. This is probably better than the 3-mana deal 5 to something. Because, yeah, Soul Seer, because this scales up more in the mid to late game. Yeah, it's just a kill anything card in the late game. Yeah, 3-mana deal 3 is fine. Like, obviously this is slightly worse against things like Lovestruck Beast early, but this scales into the late game in a way that's elegant. Yeah, so yeah, I guess the question is, like, how often do 6 and 7 matter on Soul Seer? Is Arena going to tell you turn number? Now, this card should tell you in hand how much damage it's going to deal. This does not seem particularly good. Here's the good ones, chat. We're getting Slivers on Magic Arena, among some other things. I really hope they push enough Slivers for it to be competitive. If we get a Slivers deck and a Squirrels deck in Historic out of Jumpstart, that'll be absurd. Slivers you control have Exalted. Well, that makes them punch pretty hard. Kind of expensive, though. First Strike. The rates on these are pretty bad. We're gonna lose with Meat Hooks at some point. And for anybody wondering why it's called Meat Hooks, I'd like you to look at the Slivers arm here. Ranger Captain of Eos, likely going to be a card that is constructed playable. This card, notably the sacrifice effect on here, effectively counters Mizzix Mastery. So they Mizzix Mastery target something, and then Mizzix Mastery casts the copy. So this stops them from casting it, which is nice. This can also just be used to time walk your spell-based opponents, and it draws up a Death Shadow. Yeah. Draws up Knight of the Ebon Legion as well. Alright, let's scroll for some maybe other constructed playables. We're getting Ninjutsu? Chat, we're getting Ninjutsu. Please be playable. Deals combat damage to a player, create a... Oh, that's sick. Okay, so Ninjutsu, you return an unblock attacker you control to your hand, and then this replaces it, and it hits them unblocked. So, and then this makes copies of itself, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, it just, like, copies itself up. Moonblade Shinobi deals combat damage to a player. Create a blue illusion token with flying. This one's probably not good. This is kind of sweet, though. The real question with cards like Ninjutsu is playable Ninjutsu decks over the years in different formats revolve around having a 2-drop that you want to bounce to get enters play value. So if you have a 1 or 2 with a decent enters play effect, and then you can Naga it back to your hand and replay it later for value. Enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets indestructible until end of turn. Probably not constructed playable, but kind of a neat design. You ninjutsu something, then save something that they blocked. Ooh, Changeling Outcast is a great ninjutsu enabler. 1/1 Changeling can't be blocked. Notably, has Changeling as well. So is able to slot into a bunch of different black, black tribal decks. Alright, any other playable ones? As long as you have no cards in hand, slivers you control have tap. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Might be okay. Changelings are also slivers. Flying in haste. That's pretty good. Ooh, we're getting Ingenious Infiltrator. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So these stack in multiples. So if you have multiple infiltrators, like 2 infiltrators hit your opponent, you draw 4 cards, which is gasoline. Misplayed Plo and Cleaver Green. Thanks for the follows. Welcome to the channel today. Lava Belly Sliver. Yeah, the sliver cards, if, as sad as it is to say, if there isn't a second package of slivers coming, I don't think the slivers they spoiled here are going to be enough to make slivers playable. Artifact cards. Don't underestimate cards that have modular. Arcbound Mouser. 1/1 lifelink, modular 1, so counters move over. That might be okay with Tempered Steel. Esper Sentinel, this will easily be a format staple. This will be good, and this is good with Tempered Steel, because it cranks its power up to 3 to make you more likely to draw cards. It's also a human. It's also a human, so we should see human decks get a little bit of a pump up as well. Prototype 2/2 modular. These might be good enough. It depends on what the rest of the deck looks like and what other tools we get. These may or may not be okay. This enters play, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter token. Equipped creature gets 1 attack. Probably not good enough. Exile this from your graveyard. Create an artifact token. It's probably a little bit too weak because it's not an artifact on the front half. Discard a card, switch its power and toughness. That's not particularly good. When you cast a spell with mana value of 4 or greater, another limited card. Yeah, a lot of these are limited cards. Ooh, you know what's not a limited card, chat? Thought Monitor. This card's the real deal. That's a good one. That is draw 2 cards, flyer, 2/2 affinity for artifacts. So if you can play artifacts on turns 1, 2, and 3, this costs just 4 mana on turn 4. What else do we have? Servos. I don't think, is there a way to get this into play turn 3 in Historic? I guess you could technically play like Ornithopters. Is Memnite Historic legal? It's not, right? Yes, we got the sick Delirium cards, chat. These Delirium cards are sweet. So we got Dragon Rage Chandler. I'm really interested to see how Dragon Rage Chandler plays in a format without Mishra's Bauble. I would bet that this is a card Phoenix is going to want to play. Also, I am incredibly glad that they banned Brainstorm. Like, I can't imagine Phoenix getting to play this card and Brainstorm, so I'm glad that that one's gone. This has Cascade as a mechanic. Maybe they'll sneak a Bloodbraid Elf in here somewhere. 4 more card types in your deck, you get to Cascade. Yep, Unholy Heat is coming as well. Delirium will be less free in Historic than it is in Modern. However, this is a card that surveils too, right? So remember, you can hit Delirium on this. Delirium is 4 different card types. So, creature, instant, sorcery, land. You just got to have Dragon Rage Chandler bin a land for you. You probably could also play Fabled Passage to help enable this as well. So this is Fabled Passage's stock in the format goes up with the introduction of Delirium cards for sure. The top 2 cards in your library, put one in your hand, put the other in your graveyard, put an artifact into your hand, this way gain 3 life. That's a little bit too expensive to be good, I think. Oh, we got Nettlecyst too. Yeah, this card's sweet. This counts artifacts and enchantments. So while it doesn't strictly get a boost from Tempered Steel, it does get a boost from Tempered Steel on the creature you're equipping to, which is nice. This has Living Weapon, so it comes with a germ to equip it. Reprints new to Magic Arena. Okay. Handwear Captain. This probably isn't good enough. What's the backside of this do? It doesn't show me. Let me spell this. Handwear. Load, Scryfall, load. Sorry, I have to wait for it to load again. Handwear Captain. If you have 4 more creatures, transform it. Power and toughness equal the number of creatures you control at the beginning of your end step. Make a 1/1 black and white. That might actually be okay, depending on how swarmy the humans decks are. That's good. This could be fine. Sliver tokens. Sliver reprint. Oh, there's more slivers down here. Okay. Yeah, there's some decent slivers. There we go. There's Thalia's Lieutenant, chat. This is the big one for humans. This is another one that's really good with it's really good with what's it called as well, the Esper Sentinel. We're getting Ninja of Deep Hours. Yeah, Historic Humans should be a real deck now. I wonder if we'll get Champion of the Parish. Thunderbreak Regent. I don't know if this card's very good, but it's near and dear to my heart. I played a lot of this card when it was standard legal. Sweet. Boggart. Oh, Boggart and Hellkite. Oh, so this makes Dragonstorm silly, right? That's what you would classically... That's what you would classically Dragonstorm into? You get to sit here and Boggart and Hellkite people. Sick. Alright, yeah, sweet. Lieutenant's one I've been waiting for a while. If we get Champion of the Parish as well, it'll be absurd. But honestly, even just Thraben Inspector and Esper Sentinel are probably enough 1-drops for humans.